Hey everybody, this is the new project called Skylines, and I want to get started with it right away. This is part one. Part two will be coming next time about coloring, so whatever you do, do not color this one. This is strictly just drawing it, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time to do this, but you're going to be making two drawings for this one, and both are going to look very similar. So here's what you're going to need for this project. You're going to need a piece of paper. Hopefully not lined paper. If you can just grab a piece of computer paper, that'll be fine. But you want something without any lines on it. The lines are a big distraction to what you want to do for this one. So get a piece of white paper. Then you're going to need a pencil eraser, scissors, and a Sharpie or black marker. You can do this as optional for this part, but I like the Sharpie to outline my pencil lines, and I know that for part two, this will be helpful to be able to see edges a lot brighter, and it'll reduce the amount of smudging that you get. As you can see on my hand, if you can see it, I've got pencil mark all over on the side of my hand. So I want to reduce that for part two so I don't get that stuff all over my work. All right. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to take your full sheet of paper and have it the tall way. And then for you guys, what you can do is simply just fold the piece of paper in half, like so. I'm going to grab my other paper. That sheet's really good, so I'm going to use an older piece of paper. So you can fold this thing in half as best as you can, and then simply cut on the fold. Okay? That way you have two separate sheets of paper. Cut on the fold as best as you can. All right, that'll be fine. All right, flatten it out. I want to try to get rid of that fold as much as possible if you miscut just a little bit. So you got your two sheets of paper. There you go. All right, so there you've got two sheets, and you're going to be putting one drawing here and then a very similar drawing right here. Now, in the step-by-step in the document, I show you how to be able to draw what looks like buildings, like a skyline, a city skyline. And drawing these buildings is quite easy. There are a lot of straight lines, but you don't actually have to use a ruler. You can just draw it however that you want. I did not use a ruler. I just wanted to just freehand draw as straight of line as I possibly can. Now with this, you're going to be drawing about 7 or 8 buildings. If you draw 6, add 1 more. If you draw 5, add at least 2 more, okay? We want 7 to 8 buildings. And the first buildings I want to show are shorter buildings. They're going to look like they're close up, because then we're going to be drawing taller buildings that look like they are behind it. Again, that's use of space. So I'm going to put my picture a little bit wider, and notice that this is much smaller. This is the page of sheets I cut in half. So what I want to do is begin by drawing the buildings. And in my step-by-step, it's simply just drawing an arrow with one line going up, and then at the top it's split like a pointed arrow. Now I want to put about 4 buildings here, so I'm going to leave a decent amount of space. And how tall the buildings are, how tall these arrows I draw is shorter than like a normal eraser. They don't need to be very tall, because we're going to draw taller ones back behind it. So here I go. So from the bottom, just draw a line going up, and then like an arrow. So you want those lines for the arrow pointed on a diagonal, because what this is going to show is this is the front corner of the building right here, and then we're going to add in 2 more lines to show the sides. So you don't need to do that for right now. I'm just going to add some more arrows, and so I'm going to leave a little bit of a space. Make this one just a little bit shorter, and that'll be fine. Then another one over here. So all it's going to look like is that I'm drawing some arrows. Not very difficult like that. All right, pretty easy. Now you want to connect from the edge of your arrow right here where the line stopped. Now you're just going to draw a line straight down, or as best as you can. Those of you who really want, you can use a ruler, but for this part you can actually freehand draw it. I'm okay with it. Normally when we want to draw straight lines, I do want you to use a ruler, but for this part, you don't need it if you don't want to. There you go. So now these buildings, that's what they're going to turn into. This front line right there is like the corner of the building pointing close to you. Then there's one side of the building and another side of the building. So now what I want to do is I want to add 3 or 4, possibly 4 taller buildings back behind it. So I want to draw these arrows again. I want to draw them next to or in this little open space in between the buildings. I don't want to draw it like it's popping out behind another one. Up. Angled lines, just like the smaller ones. Now this one, if I draw a line right here, they're going to be in front of each other. So I'm going to draw another line on the other side of this building. And I seem to be drawing on the right side of the building, and that's okay, of the one that I already drew. See, there's a small building, another one to the right. Small building, another one to the right. Small building, another one to the right. If that happens, not a big deal. And I'm going to see if I can squeeze one in there. There we go. Okay, so now it looks like I have just taller arrows. Same thing with these buildings, these new ones, just like I did for these ones on the bottom. Except, you notice that if I draw a straight line down, stop at that building. I want to make it look like this one is in front of that one. That's the whole point. All right, now this line doesn't interrupt with another building, so it's straight down to the bottom of the paper. This line to the building, stop. This line is open to the bottom of the paper. Same thing here. Oh, look at that one, like lines up right with the middle there. That might happen with yours too, and that's okay. And same thing there. There we go. So now it looks like I have small building in front of a big building. I have 4 sets of those, and that's perfectly okay. All right. Now the next part is the windows. And I'm going to show you guys how to do the windows on a building the correct way. Because this building, these sides are at an angle. So it's going to look really silly if you follow one way. So I'm going to draw it here. I'm going to draw it a little bit larger. So here's a building. Arrow. There's one side of the building. There's another. I'm going to draw another one here. So I'm going to show you what not to do first. First off, on each building, you're going to want to show at least 2 windows, maybe 3 if you have enough room. All right, and I'll go back to my paper in just a moment, this little one. So right here is just a close-up of what we have. So here's what not to do. Don't do this. Right now, this building is like sloping. This face of the building is like going away from you. So if you want to draw windows here, the tops of the windows should match the exact same direction of this line here, the tops and bottoms of the windows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw like the top of the, or that's what it should do. So again, I'm going to show you what not to do. Excuse me. So I don't want to draw it correctly here. It should be matching this direction. So if you just draw a plain old square window, you're going to see that that building actually looks like it's straight. Like this, here's the front, like be drawing like a simple house. But we want the building, the building is at an angle, so you can't just draw straight rectangular and square windows like this. So this is what not to do. So don't do this. If you do, I'm going to ask you to do it this way. So I'm going to put a smiley face. This is the way we want to do it. So again, the tops and bottoms of the windows should line up with that. And the sides of the windows should be straight up and down, which matches these lines. So here I go. Top of my window, it's at an angle to match this. This is going to look more realistic. Then how tall do I want the window? Right there. Now the bottom of the window matches this same one. And simply connect. Now it matches the angle of the building going back. So again, here's the top of my window. That's how deep, how tall I want the window. Then I can come across, connect the line. That's where I want the top of the window. How tall do I want it? Then go up at an angle and connect those two right there. Okay? That actually looks correct. Top of the window, how tall you want it, same angle up and connect. So again, now these ones on this side match this length, match this angle right there. So now it actually looks like the building, the corner, and then you have 2 sides of the building that are sloping away from you. So again, we want to stay away from this. Don't do this. If you do this, I'm going to ask you to put it the correct way, please. All right, so with that being said, now I'm going to add in my windows. Again, each side you want 2 or 3 windows in here. Obviously, if you look at the building, this tall building right here, I only have a limited amount of space, and here I have much more. I don't want windows going all the way to the bottom though. All right, so here I go. And that's the side of the building there. And the windows do not have to match. Like I'm going to put 2 here and 1 there. That's fine with me. And on this side then, I can put 3. Then here, maybe I want to put 1 very tall window and then a short one. If I wanted to, I could put another one there if I felt like it. Okay? So then I would continue to draw my windows like so. Again, each side matches what is there. This angle going down, the tops and bottoms of the windows follows that. This angle on this side of the building, it follows that too. The sides of the window match the up and down design of the building, just like you drew when you put the arrows in. All right, continue on. I'm going to do quite fast here just to speed up. I like drawing in this perspective looking style where it actually shows like correct angles and things going away from you. We talk a lot about that in the art room, about perspective, that things that are close to you should appear to be really big, and items that get farther away from you appear to get smaller. We did draw that one drawing with 1 point perspective where we discussed that as well, with the one dot and all the blocks coming out when you had to do the blending values and things. That's really cool. I like talking about stuff like that. Plus it looks realistic. Some of you really want to be able to draw as real as you can, or at least make something look proper so that when somebody looks at it that they don't feel confused. All right, now there's one drawing. I got this one done. So what I would recommend you do is to avoid getting these pencil marks all over here now, or not for now, but for part 2, is take a Sharpie marker or a black marker. Don't use a colored pencil for this. Use a black marker or Sharpie marker, all right, and go over your every pencil line that you drew. And it will make sure that the pencil will stay in place and the marker will kind of block it and cover it up so it doesn't smudge like mine did on my hand right there. So you can go over with the Sharpie, and I did one right here that's already done with Sharpie. Okay, so that's what I've got. So what we want to do, take your piece of paper, cut it in half, and I have 1 and 2 drawings. That's what you want, 2 drawings. They can look similar, and that's fine. You do want this open area for the sky because we're going to put something unique up there when we add color. So make sure that you leave that nice and clean for part 2, which will be coming up next week. So I have the step-by-step going in there. Make sure that you watch the video, though. There are some friends who don't watch the video. You zip through this, and within a matter of a minute or two, you think you've got everything done. You post a picture, and it's nothing like I ask. I'm going to keep sending it back if it's not done correctly, and I will not accept it. All right, so please make sure that you are watching the video, you are following the step-by-step, and do it correctly, because if you were in my art room, I would send it back and say, try it again. If I'm giving you specific rules to be able to follow, to get these drawings done in the end, this is one thing that you have to make sure that you do correctly. The drawing doesn't take time, too much time for this one. I enjoyed this one because I like things that look three-dimensional and that look more realistic. So you need 2 drawings that look quite similar, and keep them at the ready for part 2, which will be coming up next week. Okay? 7 or 8 buildings. Each side should have 2 or 3 windows on it. You can Sharpie it if you want. So this is what we're going to be going. I'm going to take my Sharpie later and go over that one with Sharpie as well, so it kind of matches this one. Okay, so that's part 1. Part 2 will be coming up next week. Just do your absolute best. I can't wait to see what you guys have. Make sure to put the ad response on Seesaw, and I'll give you some feedback if it looks good or something that needs to be changed. All right, good luck. Stay safe. Have fun, guys.